Hello, YouTube. Dane here with another character build video. Today, we are talking about one of the characters that I played at under a year, but quite a long time. And also, cautionary tale, maybe about homebrew and third-party content in your game, and how something might not seem terribly overpowered, but could spiral out of control rather quickly. Go over my good friend Yavo Big Nose and see what he did, who he was, and why there is a little bit of ridiculousness into it. All right. So, as I said, showcase, cautionary tale, dangers of homebrew third-party content. This is subjective. Please take that in note when we're talking about power. It is relative. Each 5e game is different and unique. What may be considered overpowered for one game is not overpowered at all in other games or compared to other homebrews or builds. Keep that in mind. But this is just a demonstration of what happened to poor Yavo. And you can see a nice picture here. It is the art illustration here was done by my good friend Jay. Yavo, the green one, and his echo, links down below. So, first of all, what is a Yavo? To answer that, we look at this information. He's a Trokin. I believe this is from the Cobalt Press. They're Heroes of Midgard. This is where the third-party content came from. So, Trokin have dark vision, 60 feet. Excellent. Natural weapons, a large fang and sharp claws, D4 slashing damage, D4 piercing damage. The variant that I went with on him was a thick hide, so he has thick, knobby skin, which is tough, granting a +1 to armor class. Legacy of Fear, so proficiency with intimidation, all kind of standard stuff. This is the big one here, the Inhuman Vigor. You concentrate on regenerative powers in your blood and swiftly recover from your wounds. As a bonus action, you can expend 1 hit die to regain hit points as if you had finished a short rest. The number of hit die you can expend increases by 1 when you reach the 6th level, the 12th level, and the 18th level. If you take acid or fire damage, you lose access to this ability until you finish a short or long rest. Or stat bump increases at the +2 to Constitution, +1 to Strength. So what's the big deal? Inhuman Vigor. A bonus action to heal a d8 +2 on most characters. That is assuming a 14 to Constitution, the d8 being the biggest source of hit die, the only bigger ones being Rangers and Fighters, as well as Barbarians. But most other classes have a d8. Alright. So not that big a deal. Bonus action to heal a d8 +2, that's like a worse second wind. That's a bad cure wounds. So, what is the big deal? What have I told you? By the end of his life, Mr. Yavo here could attack 8 times in 1 turn and heal 90 hit points. 8 attacks, 90 hit points, 1 turn. 90 hit points of healing is a level 9 heal spell. And you can use it as a bonus action, and he could do it 5 times in 1 fight. And then still have one cast of it left over for another 60, which is a level 6 heal spell. Pretty ridiculous. There's not a lot that can heal 90 hit points in 1 turn. Very high tier casting healing magics, and he can do it as a bonus action. That's a healing word for 90 hit points. Pretty extreme. These are the stats. So the base stats with the racial bonuses tied in looks like this for Mr. Yavo. For Mr. Big Nose, we had a 17 in strength, a 17 in constitution, 11 to dexterity and intelligence, a 13 in wisdom, and a 12 in charisma. This was a game where stats were rolled, and you can see on screen I had a 16, 15, 14, 13, 11, 11. He started as a level 3 fighter, taking Echo Knight at inception. So he didn't come into existence until level 3 in this campaign. He was already an Echo Knight fighter. Now, I wanted to play a deck stump character when I built Yavo, because I saw the 11-11, and I figured, hey, I'm going to use heavy armor to cover my AC. Having played him for so many levels, 17 in fact, I would probably want to not dump decks. If I could, I would switch the charisma with the dex, giving me a plus the 14 in dexterity, which is perfectly fine for medium armor. Then I would at least have that choice to pivot if you if you wanted to go with half plate instead of full plate, or if you wanted to do any sort of multi-classing that heavy armor is not allowed in. That would be nice, but more on it later. Now, you might say, well, he's just broken because of his stat rolls. No, not necessarily. This is the standard array. If we had to take the standard array or a point by system, putting the 15 in Constitution, we end up with a 14 in Strength that gets bumped up by the racial, and then all the other stats are there. So we do, obviously, you can see we lost 2 points in Strength, 1 point in Dex, 3 points in Intelligence, and 2 points in Charisma. But overall, the Constitution was the thing that dictates our healing and our number of hit points, and we are able to maintain that 17 at level 1. So, how do we get the healing? And the answer is a level 4 feat. Durable. It increases your constitution by 1 to a maximum of 20. When you roll a hit die to regain hit points, the minimum number of hit points you can regain is equal to twice your constitution modifier. So, this puts our constitution up to 18 at level 4. With this feat, when we roll our hit dice, the lowest we can get on the D10, which is a fighter hit die, is 8. So our healing from the Inhuman Vigor would be between 12 and 14. So we could, if we got an 8, 9, or 10, it would be 12, 13, or 14. Pretty good. That is basically a max roll on a level 1 Cure Wounds, assuming a +4 modifier. That's huge. And you can do it as a bonus action. But we're not done there. One more uncommon magic item seals this deal. While wearing this pendant, the Parafit of Wound Closure. While wearing this pendant, you stabilize whenever you are dying at the start of your turn. Cool. In addition, whenever you roll a hit die to regain hit points, double the amount of hit points restored. So the healing roll from 12 to 14 is from Inhuman Vigor is doubled to 24 to 28 as a bonus action. So if that is a max Cure Wounds at 12 hit points, we have something absurd. It goes higher than a max roll on a level 2 Cure. How do we get so many attacks? Simple answer is Echo Knight. You can pause if you want to read all this over, or just go check out your Echo Knight in the Explorer's Guide to Wildmount. In essence, this is the Unleash Incarnate. Whenever you take the attack action on your turn, you can make 1 extra melee attack from your Echo's position. So whenever the attack action takes place, you can use this feature a number of times equal to your con mod. Just add an extra attack on there for fun. So, putting it all together. Taking the average, we have 44 hit points at level 4, with an 18 con modifier. All told. We can use a bonus action to heal 24 of those hit points, which is more than half of our hit points, and we can do that 4 times. We can do 1 attack as our action, Unleash Incarnate for another attack, and then Action Surge and do it again. So we can get 4 attacks in 1 round, and then still have 2 Incarnates left. We have our bonus action available to heal these 24 hit points. So in essence, we can just jump back to full hit points whenever we've taken any sort of savage blows. Is it overpowered? The thing is, at level 6, we get to spend 2 hit dice as a bonus action, meaning that we can heal 60 hit points. At level 6, you're a fighter, you get another ASI, we could take just +2 to con. Done. Now I have a 20 Constitution, I'm healing 15 per hit die because the minimum that I can roll is twice my bonus, which is 10. So I always roll 10 out of a d10 plus 5, double that to 30. So I heal 30 as a bonus action, or I can spend 2 hit dice to heal 60 out of my 70 hit points. So I can go from nearly dead to full hit points again. I can attack from 2 spaces and freely move between my Echo's locations. I can attack 2 times and then unleash Incarnate and then action surge to do it again. With the protection fighting style and the thick hide, there's a +2 base to my AC. So on top of the shield and armor, I have 22 AC with just mundane full plate and a shield. So 22 AC, if you manage to actually hit me, then I can heal it off as a bonus action. So it is very hard to stop this assault. I will also say 60 points of healing is a level 6 heal spell. A level 6 heal spell that he can do 3 times at level 6. 2 hit dice. You have 6 hit dice at level 6. Done. Downsides. There's a downside. There is some things to consider. Fire, bad. Okay, well, I mean acid too, but these types of damage turn off our healing ability, which shuts down our entire devotion to this healing. We need to finish a short rest or long rest to recover from the shock of taking that damage. Similarly, you are spending hit die, which only recharge half of your total per long rest. So if I spend all 6 of my hit die in one battle, I only get 3 back on my next long rest, and then the final 3 back on the other long rest. So you may very quickly run out of hit die. You can also run into a situation where if you've spent all your hit die for the day and you take a short rest, you don't gain anything. You regain none of those hit die, so your healing capabilities, your devotion to those, to using that as a source of healing is gone. It does create unique obstacles to play around. Think about all the creatures that do fire damage or trying to avoid taking that type of damage so that your healing maintains. But you are nearly invincible if the damage types are not present and you have hit die. So, for example, if I'm fighting a necromancer who's doing a bunch of necrotic damage, he's got to burn through my hit points and all the hit points that I can regenerate over my bonus action turns. If he doesn't have a way to turn off that ability or stop me from using that bonus action, he's going to have a bad time. He's going to have to burn through way more hit points than a standard character would. What do you think? Is it overpowered? Is it just the third-party content, or is it the whole thing put together? Does the investment match the reward? So, is it worth it to invest an extra feat into this, be able to play this third-party content, and you do need to have at least one uncommon magic item. Fire being a common damage type, turning off your ability, would it make it worthwhile to even spec into this as much as we have? Being only a bonus action, is it causing it to be too powerful? Not hindering my other actions. Wizards could be flinging around fireballs or attacking dozens of times, taking the dodge action, grappling, interacting with objects, and still being able to restore yourself. Does that make it overpowered? What if I told you we could do this with only source material? Good. With the custom lineage, you get a +2 to any ability score. You get to determine what your race looks like, what you resemble. So we could reasonably play a troll, taking the custom lineage. You get 1 feat, any feat that you like. You also can pick up dark vision, so you're able to still maintain that sort of dark vision capabilities, and then you can take common, probably giant, as the rider. So with this, we do lose a +1 to our AC. We do lose the intimidation and the unarmed options, which is really not that big a deal. But this only works if we are a dwarf. Now, there's some leniency that's going to be needed from your DM here if you want to play a dwarf troll, or if they're very stuck on the prerequisite for this, you may need to play a dwarf instead of a troll. But I don't think it's unreasonable since you're starting with it at level 1. This is what your race gives you, and it emulates troll regeneration pretty well. So what it does, gives us a +1 to Constitution. Whenever you take the dodge action on your turn, you can spend 1 hit dice to heal yourself. You roll the die, add your Constitution modifier, and regain a number of hit points equal to the total. Very, 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 very similar. We're spending a hit die. We get to add our Constitution modifier. It is the same net result as Yavo's Inhuman Vigor, but the main difference is we need to take the dodge action. So that is an action to be able to produce that healing rather than a bonus action. So you are not able to make a number of attacks or be able to cast a spell if you're committing yourself to dodging. The one exception being the monk class, who can dodge as a bonus action, but you're still spending a key point with the Step of the Wind. So you could emulate it a little bit there, but then you are pigeonholed and stuck in playing the monk. You have to be some sort of monk variant in order for that to work. But the cool thing is, you don't need to be a troll for this. You could be any classic dwarf. Whether it be the custom dwarf, so that you should get the feat right away, or you can pick a standard dwarf, but it would cost you 2 feats in order to be able to produce the same effect. You need to have dwarven fortitude, and you need to have durable for those 2 things to stack up. The very cool thing with this particular build, though, if you're running with point buy or you're running with standard array, you take a 15 in Constitution. You get a +2 from your custom lineage and a +1 from your dwarven fortitude. You are starting with 18 Constitution, meaning that when you pick up durable, you will be at 19 Constitution. So you can take 1 more feat at your next ASI to be at 20 already. That does open it up if you want to play a multi-class option, or if you want to play something other than a fighter that gets less ASIs. You are already primed to be higher in that Constitution score. If you're playing anything that does not go up to a D10 or higher hit die, you can actually just leave your Constitution at 18, because the maximum that you can roll on a D8 is 8. So if your Constitution modifier is already 4, that durable feat will already max you out on the highest possible capability that you have. So if you are playing a monk, then your job's done. You can spend the rest of your ASIs or feats on other aspects of your character. If you're a rogue or something else, similar situation. If you're going up to Barbarian for this one, it's impossible to get more than... You can't get up to 12 unless you have like the Barbarian feat later on. That will let you go to a 22 or higher in Constitution, but that's very niche. You're still going to be healing with this combination 30 hit points as a dodge action, or it would be 24 hit points if you had a D8 hit die. But very cool. You can self-sustain as a dwarf. Editor Druk Dane here. Just want to say that while in this iteration of the dwarven fortitude capability, you can only spend 1 hit die instead of being able to spend 3 or 4, like the ability Let Us. And getting up to 17th level, we could spend 3 hit dice at one point, which is where the 90 hit points came from. Staying true to the Echo Knight Fighter, we were able to get the 3 attack bonuses at level 11, and then getting the 4th attack on as an Unleash Incarnate, Action Surging, doing it again. So that's how the full build came to be. We did pick up some other feats in there as well, but what I'm going to do is go ahead and separate the Who Was Yavo from this initial discussion, so that this video isn't longer than it needs to be, but stay tuned if you're interested in hearing more about Mr. Yavo, because we are going to be recording that video here right now, and I'll try to release it with this one as well, so you'll be 2 separate videos you'll be able to watch. If you're only interested in the mechanics and the character and the options, here you go. Here's the chunky math parts. If you're interested in the story or the details beyond, stay tuned for the second part of this video. Thank you guys for watching. Hopefully